Welcome to Ancient Wisdom for Modern Work. In the hustle of profit, product, and productivity, it's easy to neglect the how, our ethics, our conduct, and our internal state of being. But what if the secret to sustainable success wasn't found in the latest management trend, but in wisdom that's existed for thousands of years? The host of this podcast, Kimberly Killer, is here to explore the ancient concepts of Yamas and Niyamas as a powerful framework for modern leadership. So, without further ado, let's get started.
Hello, and welcome to Ancient Wisdom for Modern Work, a podcast designed to help you apply proven lessons from the yogi masters of yesteryear to the work we do today. I'm your host and guide, Kimberly Kaler, and it's my great pleasure to share my insight on how to meld mindfulness into our work world, however you define work, as a teacher, a corporate executive, or a community volunteer. Today's topic is inclusive leadership, applying ancient wisdom for modern belonging. Inclusion is often treated as a policy to be enacted or a metric to be hit. We draft statements, form committees, track demographics. While these mechanical steps have value, true inclusion, the kind that makes a person feel seen, valued, and safe, is a matter of the heart and mind. It requires a shift in consciousness, not just a shift in hiring practices. This is where the ancient ethical framework of the yamas, social restraints, and niyamas, personal observances, becomes surprisingly relevant. These 10 principles, originally designed to guide yogic life, offer a profound roadmap for navigating human relationships. When applied to leadership, they provide a vocabulary for creating a workplace where trust is the default and diversity is genuinely celebrated rather than merely tolerated. Here is how we can use these timeless guidelines to foster a deeper, more authentic sense of belonging in our organizations. Number 1, ahimsa. Psychological safety as the foundation. The first yama of ahimsa are nonviolence. In a corporate setting, violence rarely looks like physical altercation. Instead, it manifests as exclusion, microaggressions, silencing, and the subtle erasure of difference. It is the violence of interrupting a female colleague, mispronouncing a name repeatedly without the effort to learn it correctly, or dismissing the lived experience of a team member from a marginalized background. Practicing ahimsa means actively constructing psychological safety. It asks leaders to consider, do my actions or words cause harm, even unintentionally? Moving beyond nice. Ahimsa, the second yama, is often confused with being polite or avoiding conflict. However, true nonviolence sometimes requires uncomfortable conversations. It is not violent to correct a colleague who makes an insensitive joke. It is an act of protection for the culture you are building. To practice ahimsa for inclusion, start with auditing your meetings. Who is speaking? Who is interrupted? Actively intervene to create space for quieter voices. Second, normalize repair. When harm happens, and it will, because we're human beings, prioritize repair over being defensive. A leader who can say, I realize my comment was insensitive and I apologize, models a culture where safety matters more than ego. Satya, the courage of honest inclusion. Satya, or truthfulness, is the antidote to performative allyship. It is easy to post a black square on social media or release a generic statement about diversity. It's much harder to tell the truth about where an organization is failing. Inclusion dies in the dark. It thrives when leaders are willing to look at the data, salary bands, promotion rates, retention figures, and speak the truth about what they see, even if it is unflattering. Transparency builds trust. Satya, our third yama, also applies to how we communicate decisions. When the reasoning behind a promotion or a project assignment is opaque, marginalized employees often assume bias is at play, and history suggests they are often right. Radical transparency removes the shadows where bias hides. How do we tackle this one? Number 1, publish the criteria. Be explicitly clear about what is required for advancement. And second, admit what you don't know. If you lack understanding about a specific cultural nuance or identity issue, admit it. Ask for guidance or educate yourself. Feigning knowledge is a form of dishonesty that erodes trust. Asteya, stopping the theft of opportunity. The principle of asteya or non-stealing cuts to the core of equity. In unequal systems, we often see the theft of credit, time, and opportunity. This happens when a manager presents a team's idea as their own, or when office housework like taking notes, planning parties, or cleaning up disproportionately falls on women or people of color. Ensure we're giving credit where credit is due. Asteya demands that we become vigilant guardians of credit. We must ensure that the visibility of work matches the reality of who performed it. How do we do this? Start by amplifying contributions. In public forums, explicitly name the individuals who did the work. This insight came from David, or Sarah led the execution on this. Also be sure to guard time in an equitable fashion. Watch who is burdened with low visibility tasks. Rotate these responsibilities so no single group is robbed of the time needed for high impact work. Svatya, the mirror of self-awareness. Perhaps the most critical niyama for inclusion leadership is svatya, or self-study. We all have bias. It is a function of how human brains process information. The problem is not having bias. The problem is refusing to examine it. A leader without a practice of self-study is a liability. They will unconsciously replicate the systems of power that benefit them, all while believing they are being fair. Svatya is the commitment to look in the mirror and ask, why do I react this way? Why do I feel more comfortable with people who look like me? What assumptions am I making? Unlearning as leadership. This principle encourages us to view unlearning as a core leadership competency. It's the work of reading books that challenge our worldview, seeking feedback on our blind spots, and sitting with the discomfort of realizing we have been wrong. How do we do this? Well, be sure to seek dissenting views. If everyone in your inner circle agrees with you, you're not leading, you're echoing. Actively seek out perspectives that are different from your own. Also examine your, quote, fit criteria. When hiring, we often look for cultural fit. Svatya asks us to interrogate and redefine that term. Does culture fit actually mean someone I'd like to have a beer with? If so, we're just cloning ourselves. Aparigraha, letting go of power. This niyama translates to non-grasping or non-possessiveness. In a leadership context, this is about our relationship with power. Traditional structures encourage leaders to hoard power, information, and decision-making authority, but inclusion requires distribution. To include others, we must make space. This often means stepping back so someone else can step forward. It means realizing that empowering others does not diminish our own standing. Rather, it expands the capacity of the entire team. Let's talk about mentorship versus sponsorship. Aparigraha encourages us to move from mentorship and giving advice to sponsorship, giving power. A sponsor uses their political capital to open doors for others. They are willing to share their network, their reputation, and their platform. How do we do this? We'll start by passing the mic. If you're invited to speak on a panel or lead a high-profile meeting, consider if there's someone else on your team, perhaps someone from an underrepresented group who is ready for that opportunity. Then hand it over. Also, decentralize decisions. Push decision-making authority down to the people closest to the work. This signals that you trust their expertise and value their agency. Moving forward with all of this insight into a daily practice. Integrating the yamas and niyamas into our leadership style is not a quick fix. It is a daily practice of alignment. It is waking up each morning and choosing nonviolence over dismissal, truth over comfort, and self-reflection over ego. When we lead this way, we do more than hit a diversity target. We create an environment where human beings can fully show up. We build organizations that are resilient because they are grounded in the reality of human connection, not the artifice of corporate structure. By looking back at these ancient principles, we find the clearest path forward to a workplace where everyone truly belongs.
Thank you so much for listening to Ancient Wisdom for Modern Work, a podcast designed to meld mindfulness into the work we do. We invite you to subscribe as well as visit wisdomfortheworkwedo.com for additional resources. Until next time, we invite you to consider how you can apply the wisdom yogi masters of yesteryear to the work we do today, with integrity, clarity, and compassion.